What's up, guys? All right, time. We're gonna do something a little different today. My brain has been churning for a little bit. I've been putting a few pieces together, and I want to see if you guys can follow my thought process and what you think about this. I posted this video last night. Let's open this. All right, I posted this about this guy getting arrested, the CNN reporter, and when I posted it and I was watching it, I'm thinking, man. This seems really odd, right? That he's so willing to the way the video is filmed, the way it's edited, the way he's doing things, the way he's holding that his badge, the fact that the officer's already touching him. It felt off. And then I saw this comment, right, from High Priestess Angelique. Thank you, because you've sparked something in my head, and I think I've started going down the fucking rabbit hole. She said, this shit was staged. They let them go after, and they got them in a van and drove them a little bit down the road. This is total BS. If you watch the video, the reports from some of the news outlets are that the head of CNN called the governor to have them released. And either way, whether this is true or the other is true, it sparked something in my head, right? And I was watching this other video, and they were making the suggestion that maybe some of the violence that has started at some of the riots has been staged to inflame even more violence, right? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, that doesn't make... I mean, it does make sense, but, like, what's your end goal? Like, okay, so I could see someone doing that, and I could see it being effective, but to what end, right? So, what's your goal? So then I started looking into some of the evidence. I was like, okay, well, first let me see if any of this is real. So there are a few stories of instances that are staged violence. Here's the first one. This is called the Umbrella Man, right? This guy walks up with no provocation and starts breaking the windows out of an auto zone, and they're like, apparently a lot of people are at this were thinking that it was really odd. So so everybody's at the police station. It's daylight. Things do not seem to be that bad. And then out of nowhere, here comes this guy. And this person looks like they're trying to stop him. Right? So it's very clear that the protesters were not trying to be violent. And then he comes along. Now, here's something really interesting, right? Let's see if we can get to it. Right? If you look right here, he has a breather mask with goggles on. He's wearing all black, and he's wearing thick clothing with a backpack, and he's carrying this umbrella. Alright, so if you go online to YouTube, there is a video that's, I want to say, 20 some odd minutes long from a former head of the CIA who was in charge of basically turning people into other people, doing spycraft for like disguises and whatnot. And the main takeaway that I took from that video is that uh, uh, good effective disguises are always additive, not subtractive. So basically you can make someone fatter but not skinnier. You can make someone taller but not shorter. You can make someone older but not younger, blah 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 blah. Whatever you want, right? In those terms, right? So this person is making himself bigger by all the padded clothing. He's also blocking himself from the helicopters up above, right? He's throwing off his body pattern with the backpack, and who knows what he's got in there. He just seems to have all these signs that I associate with trying to hide who you are and being conscious of the things that are going to identify you. No facial recognition, right? So this is the first one. Because hear the helicopter? He's gone. And nobody's really worried about it. Like, these people are falling, but like, not really smart. He's got a hammer. You're not real smart. He's got a hammer. Not real smart. Now they're asking him if he's a cop. Okay, so there's that one, right? Okay, so interesting. So there's that. Then there's this one. This one is a biggie. There is a pallet of bricks outside of a courthouse or a county building or police building. I forgot what it is, but this was posted.
This right here,
Yeah, they put them there
this
on
the
purpose.
setup.
They put them there on
Y'all
purpose,
know where
bro.
we at.
They gonna set them on right up on the route.
Y'all know what building this is
Come
right
on
here.
now.
I ain't even gonna say what name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them
This
bricks
is
go
setup.
to? Where do them bricks
We
go
gotta
to?
do better.
Ain't no damn
We gotta do better.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
I see it.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
I like he's funny. I see it.
I did jury duty 3 months ago. Y'all don't keep no bricks right there. Do better. This right
So,
here,
so there's bricks all of a sudden just out in front of a county courthouse, right? Right? It's really odd for them to be there in a walkway. All right, so my thought process was, all right, how can I go about the benefit of the doubt? Okay, well, it's in Minneapolis. They've been rioting for 3 days. They just decided to drop it there because they had nowhere else to put it or something. I don't know. Like there's some reason because of all that's going on. But then at the same time, it's like this isn't smart. You know, but that because of those same things that are happening, that we would try and reason you would move your bricks into a different location is the exact reason why you wouldn't leave them right in front of the courthouse. And then on top of that, the fact there's no construction around, that seems really odd, right? Okay, then there's this one. There's video claiming to show protesters looting the mall in America, which was just completely fake, okay? After rioters protesting George Floyd's death looted a Minneapolis Target, a video allegedly showing a Mall of America facing a similar fate circulated online, but claims the protesters looted and drove a car through the mall on Thursday are untrue. Okay. Then we have this one. Video shows child soldiers standing guard at Atlanta protests. This is honestly weird. There's literally like a 12-year-old out there. And it makes it seem like the National Guard are out, but like who in their right mind would do this and believe it? So this is odd, right? This is odd. And then there's the well, no, hang on. Let's go to this. This is what really got me. I was like, okay, well, let me do some more research and see what I can find. Right? Riots are staged. This is the only thing that comes up. This is about spreading. This is about the officer, or the CNN reporter arrested. Going down, fake news. This is about the coronavirus, and then it goes on. And then the Delhi riots, which I'll do a video on that because there's a video of some like I don't know 4-year-old kid trying to revive his dead mother because they're in lockdowns of the coronavirus, and you guys that are doing these fucking protests and burning shit down. I'm glad you decided to try and turn our country into Delhi. You guys, I really appreciate that, you fucks. But so I saw this, and this is New York Times is the only one that's talking anything about the riots being staged, right? So you click on it. Riots are staged. You're like, oh, interesting. Wait, hang on. What? You know what they want you to do? They want you to log in and subscribe so they can gather their cookies and their little metadata and blah, 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 blah to read their story. So then it got me thinking. They're like, oh, well, the cops are the ones who are staging all the violence, right? Or it's white supremacists that are coming in, or the drug cartels, because the Governor Walz of Minnesota has made those claims that it's either white supremacists from what he's seen, or drug cartels trying to get a foot in that's causing some of the problems. And I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, the drug cartels or white supremacists, that would make sense because the white supremacists, they don't like the blacks. They're going to come in and they're going to burn their city. But then at the same time, I thought about it. I was like, well, I mean, these places all these riots are happening, especially in Minneapolis, are not strictly black, right? Like, what, that AutoZone and the Starbucks and all these other buildings, do they cater specifically to black people? So it seems kind of counterproductive to the idea that the white supremacists are coming in to do it to target the blacks. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe the white supremacists are coming in to just inflame the blacks, so they have a reason to say, oh, well, look how bad the blacks are, which, if that's true, you guys are fucking falling for it, because, God, you're fucking idiots by doing all this rioting, right? So then my mind started thinking, well, who else has a benefit from this, right? And I was like, what if it's the media, right? Let's go back to the very beginning. This shit was staged. They let him go after they got in the van and drive a little bit down the road. Whether this is true or not, or whether Mark Zucker called in or whatever his name is, the head of CNN, to get them let out. What if CNN did this specifically so they could make this story, and then what? Just crazy. What if CNN or news outlets in general are the ones who are going out and are inciting the violence? To get some clickbait, as soon as the only place that had anything about the riots being staged was the New York Times. And as soon as I wanted to read that article, what do I have to do? I've got to log in. I've got to give them information so they can track things from me. Why? Because it makes them money. When you click on things that's clickbaity, it gives them money. And that's what all of this is. And I was like, wow, is it possible the media has decided to hire a bunch of goons to go out and do this? And then on top of it, I was like, whether that's right or not, it just makes me think that the blacks, you guys are being played so hard. You're being played so hard, and you don't realize it because let's say that you're right and that there is a lot of racism in America, right? And that white people don't like black people. Do you really think that it's simply because white people look at black people and say, I am offended by the color of your skin? Like, I mean, does anybody really believe that for some reason someone who has a darker skin color, or does it have to do with the conduct of you as an individual and more importantly as a community? And then my thoughts started getting deeper, and I was like, well, if they're inciting the violence to get the blacks to go out and become more racist, because that's what you're doing. You're breeding racism all around the board. And so then I read the stories. Minneapolis protester warns the unrest will hit the suburbs next because there is nothing left here, and thousands ignore city curfew and take to the streets in fourth night disturbances. Okay, so then here's where we're going to start getting into some really fun stuff. Let's go to YouTube. Let me go to my history.
To escalate here.
No,
Minneapolis.
let's go back.
One of the president's
Oh,
own
come on.
vehicles flies
Hang on,
over
we
and
gotta
drops
deal with this
bombs
ad real
on
quick.
medics and
Fuck
children.
your ads, YouTube. This is how you get past ads.
To escalate here.
Well, maybe not.
Minneapolis protester warned. To escalate here.
Come on, I don't want to deal with your fucking ad.
And I got, it's him. I'm shaking. I can't believe it. No proof. No.
Okay, so basically, what they're gonna say is, I've lost my train of thought now. That this could be staged, or what I was gonna go into is that if they're trying to incite racism, right, to start another race war, and the blacks are falling for it, and this article is right, is that the suburbs are next. You guys don't realize that maybe you are falling into a trap. Maybe this is white supremacy, and they're trying to race bait you into coming after the whites to get obliterated as a race. Because I didn't realize it, but that this video that I was just trying to watch here, I'm just actually going to mute this and let it play through. This video that I'm trying to watch to get to a certain part of is going to talk about neighborhoods arming themselves, and I have done that with my neighborhood. I've gone to my neighbors and been like, hey, look guys, I am not letting this neighborhood burn down. Here, let me turn this back on.
And I'll tell you where this goes next. Owner of gutted Minneapolis shopping mall tells governor and mayor people will uprise over this. They will. There's a tweet. I retweeted it. I don't have it pulled up. Where someone in Minneapolis said that local members of the community have started issuing like a bulletin, basically, to organize for their own defense because the police won't do it.
Think about this. Think about this real hard, right? So, George Floyd dies, right? Everybody decides to get upset about it because the media blows it out of proportion and starts making a bunch of accusations before anything's in and gets everybody riled up, right? The protests start, which is a natural thing, and then the media infiltrates those protests and incites them to some type of violence to push for further clickbait, right? And then let's go from a different angle. White supremacists come in to burn down things in the black community to get the black community riled up and and more racist, right? Now they're specifically going after white people regardless of anything that has to do with it, which in turn forces the people of mostly white communities to decide to band together and attack anyone who comes into their neighborhood. It seems like this has all been done to divide us further. It just, I don't know. There's something really fishy about it, and I appreciate it, High Priestess. You turned my head onto this. I don't know. My brain is smoking. I'm even having a hard time talking. I don't know what to think about this, but you guys let me know. We'll see you in the next one.